So in the last episode, we used define props here to pull the notification in that we shared within handle inertia request. And that's fine for very, very basic use cases. But what we would have to do here, if we wanted to use a library or a plugin to display these like we saw in the introduction, we would have to watch this value and then perform some sort of action on it. Now I'm going to give you an example of that, and then I'm going to show you a better way that we can do this globally across our entire app. So let's go ahead and define a variable for the props here so we can start to actually watch on them. And we're going to go ahead and import watch from view. So what we can do is we can watch for this value changing and then perform some sort of action when that happens. So we can go ahead and say watch props notification, and then we can have a callback in here and then do something with that data. So let's just console log worked for now, and let's just see what happens. So we're going to come over to our console to take a look at this. And yeah, we just need to change this over because it's a non-reactive property. And we're going to hit do something, and you can see worked. So as soon as that new data comes in here, the watcher detects that this has changed, and then it goes ahead and console logs out. And this is where you would flash the actual notification using a plugin. We're going to be using the Toast package. So we would say Toast, and then we would grab the data from the event and we would go ahead and do something with it. In fact, it's not going to be an event, it's going to be the notification itself. So we would say something like Toast notification. Maybe we had a type in here, and then we also had a body. But this all gets a little bit too complicated. I'm not going to go any further with this. We're actually going to get rid of all of this because we're going to do this globally with a plugin on a router change, and that makes a little bit more sense. So I'm going to get rid of all of that. We can get rid of the watcher here, and we're also going to get rid of this notification on the page as well. We'll keep everything else the same, so we're still flashing that success message over in here. Okay, so let's get started on building out our own plugin, which we're then going to register. So under JS, let's go ahead and create a plugins directory. It doesn't really matter too much where you put this. And I'm going to call this notifications.js. In fact, I'm going to capitalize plugins here because everything else is. Okay, so we've got our plugin here, the base of our plugin. Plugins are pretty easy to build in Vue. So we're going to go ahead and export out the name of the plugin, notifications. And let's go ahead and create that out as a function in here, export const, not exports. And inside of here, we just want to do something. So for example, if our plugin's sole purpose was just to console log out, this is a plugin, that would be fine. So we're going to go over to app.js, and we're going to register this here like we have every other plugin. So we're going to go ahead and import this first of all. So import notifications from our plugin notification. And we're going to go ahead and use this just down here like that. So that is basically our own plugin created, imported, and used within our app. Now, as I said, you can build a plugin that does anything. And in this case, when we refresh the page, all that happens is we get a console log out with this is a plugin. Not useful at the moment, but let's change this around to get it to do something a little bit more useful. So to do this, what we're going to do, if we think about the way Inertia works, when we hit that button and we redirect back, technically that's a router change. We're redirecting back, so we can actually hook in to Inertia's router, or in this case, the router of our app, to see when a router change has been performed, or when we finish navigating, or whatever you want to call it. The hook is actually finished. So we're going to go ahead and import router here from Inertia Vue 3, and we're going to come down here and we're going to hook into this. So we're going to say, when this finishes, we want to do something. So on a route change, let's console log out router finish, like so. Okay, so that should be enough for now to get this to work. No more console log out saying this is a plugin, but when we click on this, you can see we get router finish. So now, once we've been redirected back from somewhere, that's usually when something is going to be flashed to the screen or some sort of message is going to appear. We can hook into this event to then detect if this is here. Now, we do this by accessing that prop globally from here, and we can use the use page composable to do this within Inertia Vue 3. So use page, and we can come down here and we can define our notification, and we can invoke use page, which gives us access to all of the props that are passed down. So you can see that this is auto-completing for me. So we've got auth and user. We can grab pretty much anything out of here that we want to. But for us, it's props.notification. So that's what we handled or passed down here. So now that we've got the notification, let's go ahead and console log out this notification and now see what we get. So if I click on that, there we go. So we're getting that now back. But now this is globally registered. So if we wanted to, again, use a plugin like Toast to output this notification, we can just do that really easily like this. And that's handled everywhere for us. We're still not quite there yet because we're going to make this a little bit more flexible so it takes into account the type of notification automatically for us without having to do anything. But for now, that is a good start. So we've hooked into this. When we click on it, it goes ahead and gives us back the notification body. So what we can do in the next episode is pull in a package like Toast to flash these notifications or show these notifications, and we can hook this in to the plugin, the very simple plugin that we've just built.